Hey, what's up? It's been a while since we've last talked. And I am broke, which is great. Again, I'm sure you remember a few years back when I talked about gold money and all the money I should have. I think when I talked about that was because I was broke. And so I'm back here again, and this time I want to tell you a little story about why I'm out of funds. So this all started when I decided I was going to study abroad last semester. I was going to Florence, Italy. But before I went to Florence, I was doing a Christmas tour, 12-day tour of China. So you spent 4 days in Beijing, 4 days in Shanghai, and 4 days in Hong Kong. And so when I get to China, immediately the exchange rate is 6-1 in favor of the American dollar. Well, this is the very beginning of my trip, and I had a lot of just money that was supposed to be used for the entire semester. And not really budgeting at all and seeing all this cheap stuff, I spent more than I should have. I bought a lot of, for example, this is a fake Rolex watch that stopped working about 20-25 minutes after I bought it. But it's just money. So after those 12 days, I get back to Florence and I look at my bank account, and it's lower than it should be at this point, but I'm okay with it. I talk to my parents, I Skype with my parents. It's just like, okay, we'll start budgeting, blah, 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 blah. So I do. I get fed through the program, so I don't need to worry about food all that often, except for on the weekends. And I was going on a number of different trips that the school provides transportation for. Not all of them. Some of them I had to get my own plane to. One of these trips, in particular, was to Paris, France. So this trip to Paris, I had to buy a plane ticket for, and me and one of my roommates in Florence, and actually one of my housemates now, bought tickets through, I don't even know who it was, Swiss Airlines. That's what it was. It was Swiss Airlines. And so we got into Paris Thursday night. We did Paris, it was a wonderful city. I actually enjoyed it. We toured it Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Is that right? Yeah. Sunday morning, we had our flight home, and our flight left early in the morning. And to get from the airport to the from the hotel to the airport, you have to take a city train. And so we get on, and it's really early in the morning, and so my friend and I are sitting across from each other. We have our bags up in the luggage rack, and I fall asleep. My friend's awake, he's listening to music, whatever, looking out the window. And a little bit, probably about an hour later, it's about an hour turn, he shakes me awake and says, "Hey, Mike, man, the train stop, this is the last stop, there's some construction going on, so we have to take a bus from here to the airport. Let's go. We got a time schedule." And I say, "Okay, great." I stand up, I grab my bag, but my bag isn't there. There are no people on the train at this point. This was the last stop, and there's no bag, no one else is around, and I say this, and I go, "Where is my bag?" My friend goes, "Oh my God, I have no idea." So we look around on the train, we can't find it, we get out of the train, we kind of look around at the people that are standing around, we walk around the train station, and eventually realize, well, it's stolen, there's nothing we can do. Luckily, I had my wallet and my passport on me, on my person. So we think, well, let's just get to the airport, get on our flight and go. So we get on the bus that takes us to the airport. We get to the check-in desk, and we got like 40 minutes to get on this international flight before it leaves. We go up to Swiss Airlines and try to check in, and they tell us, "Sorry guys, we close our gates 45 minutes before the plane leaves. You can't get on it." And we plead with her. We don't have anything to check. We just need to get in there. And the lady says, "No, there's nothing I can do." And so we say, "Okay, so what do we do?" And she tells us, "Well, you can go and try and buy a new plane ticket." And so we do. We walk to the desk, the plane ticket buying desk. Oh, I should mention at this point, 5 minutes in, this is going to be a long video, man. So hold your horses, so to speak. Boot straps should be, strapped down. And so we go to the counter to buy a new ticket at Swiss Airlines, and the lady tells us, well, actually, all of our flights are booked today and tomorrow. You can't get anything tomorrow. But she says, why don't you go try Lufthansa, one of the German airlines? And we go, okay, great. I like Lufthansa. I've flown it before. I'm a big fan. Free beer, which is always good. So we go to the Lufthansa desk, and no flights for Sunday. And we say, well, what about Monday? And they say, well, yeah, we do actually have a flight leaving on Monday. It'll get you into Florence. We say, great, we'll take it. And she says, that'll be 900 euros. Now, I'm no conversionist, but that's a lot of money. I probably should have done this before. I think when I was there, it was about 1 to 4. So that's almost 1.5, so a little under about $1,300. Well, I might have had $1,300, but I couldn't spend it all at once. And so we say, no, we can't do that. And the woman says, well, you can try another airline, or you can try the train station downstairs. And we say, well, we'll go talk to the train station. So we go down to the train station ticket area, and we ask them if there are any trains going to Florence today. And the lady says, sorry, no. But there's one tomorrow for 175 euros. And we say, you know what? Why not? Let's just buy that. It's the cheapest thing we're going to find. So we pay the 175 euros. This is going to take us from Paris to Milan. Then we will switch trains and get on a train from Milan to Florence. And it's going to be about 10 hours of travel. Which, we're clearly going to miss our Monday classes, but fine. And now our problem is that we need to get a hotel or a hostel or someplace to stay. Plus we now need to feed ourselves the rest of the day. So, hold on there. Let me just... So we get back on the train, headed back out towards the city center of Paris, and we walk around, we grab a bite to eat, and we find this hostel on some restaurant's free Wi-Fi. It's pretty close to the train station. So we decide to go there, and we try to check in, and the man tells us, and on the website it said 25 euros a night, so whatever. And the man tells us, well, it's a last minute booking fee, it's going to be 50. And we say, what? No, that's crazy. If we weren't here, you just wouldn't get the money for the room. And he says, actually, sorry, you're going to have to pay 50. And this is really the only hostel in the area we need to be. So we say, okay, fine. At least the only one we could find online, so we pay 50 each. So as you can tell, the fees are building up. We have to eat dinner, which, all the food in Paris is very expensive, especially in the center of the city, because that's where they know the tourists want to go. So we eat dinner, and we sit in the hostel, and, my friend and I, we watch Star Wars that night because we don't want to go out. We're in bad moods. I had lost my glasses. My glasses and my iPod were in the bag, so that was stolen. And luckily my friend had a contact case I could use to put my contacts in, otherwise I would have been blind. So anyway, the next day we get on the train and start our journey. And as we're going, we 6, 7 hours in, we get to Milan. And we get off the train. We arrived right on time. Things are going great. We pull out our next ticket, and we see, hey, wait a second. We're at Milan train station blank, and this one leaves from Milan train station blank, a different one. And we go, wait, that can't be right. Maybe there's a transfer. And then we look at the time our train is supposed to leave from Milan to Florence, and it's scheduled to leave 15 minutes before we were even scheduled to arrive. Okay? So we were never going to make it, because it's also at a different train station. So we get very upset. This is like a €50 ticket here. And we try to go find the office of the train company that just sold us the ticket. Well, we're in Italy now, and that was a French train company, so there's no office anywhere. We can't get a refund. And so we decided, well, we better just buy a ticket. We got to get back to Florence. So we buy a ticket for the last train back to Florence. And it's in the other train station. So we have to sprint and sneak on a train that goes from this train station to the next. We didn't have a ticket for it. And then get on the train to Florence. And that was another about 75, 80 euros. So you can see at this point, my funds are going down and down and down at a rapid pace. And then the big one hits me. Now I have to replace everything that was in my backpack. Specifically, I need a new backpack. I need some new school books. I need glasses. I had to buy a hairbrush, which was like 14 euros. And look at this thing. It broke 2 days after I bought it. This is a 14 euro hairbrush. One of the worst things I've ever bought. It broke. The handle just broke off. Anyway, all in all, I ended up, that extra day in Paris ended up costing me anywhere between 600 and 700 euros. So at this point, I am in warning mode at my funds. I know I don't have a lot, so I need to watch myself and I'll be fine. So spring break rolls around, and spring break I had signed up for a school trip that went to Ireland. It was a 10-week-long, 10-day trip. And I bought train, and we had to get our own flight. So we were flying out of Rome. So my friend and I bought a train ticket from Florence to Rome. Got on the flight, got to Dublin, and met up at the school, and everything was great. We were there for a week. Interestingly enough, on this trip, the school did not actually provide us any meals, which was different. Normally they provide us, some meals. And normally the trips are just a weekend. So there were no meals on this, and, we were at one point in Northern Ireland, which is the pound, very expensive. I was eating, like fast food burritos in Ireland to save money. And my buddy and I, who had taken the train from Rome, also decided that our spring break trip ended on the Friday. Our class didn't start until Monday, and St. Patrick's Day was that Sunday. So we were going to stay that weekend in Dublin, because why not go to St. Patrick's Day in Dublin if you can? You got to. So we did that. We had already paid. No, we hadn't paid for the hotel yet. We hadn't paid for the hotel. We had booked it, but we got everything set up. The hotel was about 25 euros per person. We were splitting it between three of us at that point. And the hotel was outside of town, so we had to get a bus into town every day that we wanted to stay. But that was all fine. And the night before we had to leave, so I guess Sunday night, our flight left on Monday morning, I checked my bank account, and so did the guy I was flying with. And we both saw that we had about $40 left. Maybe I had less, actually. I had 15, he had 40. US dollars, not euros. And so we go, okay, well, luckily we have the plane ticket and the train ticket paid for. We'll be fine, but we got to be careful. So we get in the tram, the bus thing, from the hotel to the airport, which we had set up the day before. It was supposed to leave at 6 in the morning. It didn't leave for 20, 30 minutes. It was late for no apparent reason. We were just sitting there waiting to go. And it goes, and so we get to the airport later than we wanted to. We both have to check bags, so we end up standing in. There's a big line to check bags, because, this is the day after St. Patrick's Day. Everyone's leaving Dublin. And we just end up skipping a bunch of people, putting our bags on, and running to the plane. So we're sprinting through the airport. We get, because of course, our terminal, or our gate, is like the farthest one from the security, because of course that happens. So, we run there, and everyone had already boarded. We just run and get right on the plane, sit down, and they close the door behind us. And they get on the intercom and say, "Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, just, so you know, one of the engineers forgot to install a piece to the plane, so we'll be grounded for an hour and a half." And so we're just kind of like, whatever, we got here. And our layover in London is supposed to be 5 hours long. So an hour and a half, whatever. We do have to switch airports in London from Gatwick to Heathrow, which are two different airports. But, that still leaves us 3.5 hours. So we get up, we land in London, and we go to check we have to get our bags out of out of the whatever. We have to get our bags and then move them to the next airport. And our bags don't show up on the little spinny thing for like an extra 20 minutes after everyone else has shown up. And so we're down to about 3 hours. Maybe, yeah, about 3 hours to go. And we try to figure out, well, what's the cheapest way to get from Gatwick to Heathrow? And somebody tells us it's the bus. So we go to the bus station, we say, hey, how much for a bus ticket? And they say £25. Now that's a lot of money, man. £25, because pounds are even more expensive than euros. And so I don't have it on me, and neither does my friend, so we go to the ATM, I put my card in, I try to get 40 out, and it won't let me. I don't have enough money, so I try to get 20 out. I'm able to get 20 out, and I've overdrawn my account at this point. And so my buddy loans me £5 to get this ticket. I also have €8 in my pocket at this point, by the way. So we go back, we buy the ticket, we go out to the bus station, and for about 45 minutes, the bus doesn't show up. It was supposed to show up, but it didn't. And at a certain point, this guy just comes out from the bus company and says, hey, are you waiting for the bus to Heathrow? And we say, yeah. He says, well, get on this one, it'll take you there. And we say, okay, thank you very much. So we get on the new bus to Heathrow, and it's supposed to be an hour-long ride. You've got about 2.5 hours, 2:15 to get there. And it's supposed to be an hour, so we get on the highway, and we get right on the on-ramp, and gridlock. Nothing is moving. And I'm just like, oh my goodness gracious. So I'm just looking at my watch the whole time, trying to figure out, are we going to make it, are we going to make it, are we going to make it? And finally, an hour goes past, we're not there. I'm starting to freak out. An hour and a half goes past, we're not there. Between an hour 45 and 2 hours, we finally get there. And we've got about 20 minutes to make this international flight and check our bags. So I figure, well, they're not going to let us on. Swiss Airlines didn't back when I was in Paris. But, so we run up to them, give them our bags. Or my friend checks in. They take his bag. He's good to go. He gets on the plane. I try to check in, give him my passport. And they look at my passport, look me up, and they don't see me. I'm not on the flight. They can't find me. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? The weirdest part is, my buddy and I bought the ticket together. We paid with one credit card, 2 seats, sitting next to each other, and then one of us, I don't remember which one was going to pay the other one back. So we should not have been moved. And on top of that, I had checked my email the night before to see if anything had happened. Well, what happened is they had moved me, specifically, not him, to a flight 2 hours later. Which doesn't seem like a problem, but it is. And here's why. My friend and I both had a ticket coming from Rome to Florence. That train leaves at 8:55 p.m. and the ticket is on one piece of paper. It says 2 passengers, 1 piece of paper. So I need to get into Rome by 8:50 if I'm going to make this train. Otherwise, I don't have any money. So I get on the plane. We land at 7:30-ish. I have to get my bag from checking. I get it by like 7:55. I'm sprinting out to the bus. I did a lot of sprinting today, or in this day. I sprint out to the bus station. I asked the lady if I can get a ticket. She says, yeah, there's a bus leaving at 8 o'clock. It's a 45-minute bus ride from the airport to the train station. And it's €5 for a ticket. So I have €8. I pay her 5. I sprint out, get on the bus that's supposed to leave at 8, and it just doesn't leave. It doesn't leave until 8:20. Again, why? Who knows? I don't understand. There was even a sign that said 8 o'clock. That's when they leave. So now I'm freaking out. I'm really freaking out. And I'm checking my watch. It's nighttime, so I'm hoping, well, maybe the streets will be clear and I'll be able to make it in faster than 45 minutes. No, I was not. I got there at 9:03. 8 minutes after my train left. I was hoping that maybe my train would be delayed. It was not. Left right on time. So I had €3, no other money, and no way home from Rome to Florence. And so I am in this state of distress. I go to the first ATM I can find. I put in every card I have. I tried my driver's license, because who knows if there's money on that. There might be. Nothing works. So I'm just standing in the Rome train station looking sad and just, defeated. And this Italian cab driver sees me. I guess he can tell. And he comes up to me and says, hello. He speaks English, and I talk to him, and I explain my situation. He says, oh, well, there's an internet cafe just down the block. You can go there, get an hour of internet and try to figure something out. I say, oh, thank you very much. So I go to the internet cafe, and it's €2 for 1 hour. I've got 3, so I give him the 2. I give him 2. I got €1 left. And this is where some of you who are Facebook friends with me might know what happened. I immediately get online and I email my parents. I say, hey, quick, I just need you to transfer, $200, $150, whatever, now in the next hour 15, so I can get on the last train. Otherwise, I don't know what I'll do. And then I emailed that to them. Then I went on Facebook and I posted a status explaining where I was in my situation, so that all my friends in Florence, if I don't show up the next day, will know where I am and what the situation is. Well, that status got something like 110 likes, which, great, thank you. About 40 minutes into my internet time, I'm watching this thing tick down, tick, 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 because I haven't gotten a response from my parents. My older brother sees this Facebook post, which actually was due to all the likes. So I guess in a weird way, thank you for liking it, because you did bring it to the top of his newsfeed. And he reads it and calls my mom and says, hey, you might want to check your email. It sounds like Mike might be in a little trouble. And so she checks her email, sees the problem, transfers some money, and emails me right away. And I don't even have time to respond to the email. I just, log out or whatever and run to the train station. I buy a train ticket, and I get on the last train leaving Rome for the night. And I buy a train ticket to the main station in Florence. I don't remember how long of a ride it was. It was I think it might have been 4 hours. It was a slow train. And I get in, and this conductor guy comes up to me, and he's checking tickets, and he says, oh, you get off at this station. I look out the window, and the station, it says, Firenze, Florence, but it's not the station I wanted to go to. It's one I'd never heard of, and I say, oh, no, I want to go to this station. He says, no, you have to get off here. It's the only stop. So I say, okay, and I get off, and I don't know where I am. It's about 2:30 in the morning at this point. I've got bags, and I'm happy to be in Florence, but I have no idea where I am. So I wander around the streets for an hour trying to figure out where I am. Of course, no one's around, and the people that are, I don't really want to talk to, plus they probably don't speak English. And after about an hour of searching, I find a bus stop that I recognize from my bus line that I take every, twice a week. And I'm able to follow, I still don't know where I am, but I'm able to follow my bus stop back to where I can find myself. And I eventually get to where I live at about 4 a.m., which was much to the chagrin of my night man. But, that story is why I have no money now, which I thought, was an interesting tale. I also didn't realize it was a 20-minute story. Sometimes I just get talking and don't realize how long I go for. I wonder if I'll have to do this again. I'm not going to watch it all, that's for sure. Well, anyway, you guys want to hear a joke or something? I'll end on a joke. Which joke should I tell? Okay, so there's this husband and wife out golfing, and the wife has never been golfing before. And so they get to the first tees, and the wife runs up to the ladies' tees and sets up her shot. And the husband says, oh, honey, no. So in golf, the person behind shoots first. So since my tees are behind yours, I tee off first, and then you get to go. And the wife says, oh, well, I'm sorry, honey, I didn't understand. Go ahead. Ooh, getting texts. Huh. And so the wife says, okay, I'm sorry, honey. You go ahead. So the husband tees off. Wife tees off. They have a great hole. Everything's great. They both get par or whatever. I don't know. They get to the second hole, and again, the wife runs up to the lady's tees and sets her, tees it up and is ready to swing. And the husband goes, honey, no, remember, like I just told you, you have to wait for me to tee off first because I shoot from behind you. And the wife says, oh, yes, honey, I'm sorry. And so she backs up, the husband tees off, and the wife does, and they play through. Bogeys this time, because why not? And then they get to the third hole. And again, the wife runs up and sets up her shot, and she's getting ready to hit it. And the husband's, tired of it by this point. So he just decides he'll tee off anyway. So he puts his ball on the ground, and he swings, hits the wife right in the back of the head. And she drops, just like that. She's out. We fast forward to the hospital, and the husband's in the waiting room. And this doctor comes out, and he says, hello, are you Mr. Wife? And the husband says, yeah, I am. And he says, okay, don't worry, your wife will be fine. She has a mild concussion. We're just monitoring her, but we'll be ready to release her within the hour. And the husband goes, oh, that's great. And the doctor says, but there was something very interesting that we found. The husband goes, oh, what's that? And the doctor holds up this golf ball. He says, we found this Titleist lodged in your wife's rectum. Do you know anything about this? And the husband just kind of says, oh, yeah, that was my mulligan. I'm Mike, and you've been hogged.